Do we want to give it a couple minutes or just jump right in?
I think you can go ahead. It's 3 o'clock.
Okay. Good afternoon, faculty and families. Cameron and I are so glad that you were able to join us for our community health update today. We've got a lot going on at Bennett Day, and we're looking forward to sharing that all with you. I wanted to start first by thanking the parents and guardians here today and those that may be watching this recorded later. I want to thank you for sharing your insights, your hopes and your worries, your expectations for our program. Your specific feedback, positive and instructive, has been incorporated into the program in its final iteration, and we so appreciate your insights. Also, a big thank you to the CHIRT team. You have continued to remain focused and lead the way through this very challenging time, and we appreciate that. To Meg, Jackie, and Marty, our fearless division heads, you have led your teams into uncharted territory with grace, compassion, and the good humor necessary to lead effectively. Just a quick tech reminder here, you can use the chat feature on the side to ask questions throughout the meeting. I'm going to go through my remarks and Cameron will go through his, and then we'll come back to questions that come through during our comments. Also, I wanted to give you a quick tech update about Zoom bombing, which is now a thing. We are aware that there are some weaknesses in the security of the video conference platform Zoom. In partnership with our tech team at Heliox, we have implemented the highest degree of barriers between our students and people who are up to no good. So what does that mean? First off, the FBI had a recommendation of settings to protect meetings and users on Zoom. So we are implementing all of these. The two most critical I'm going to share with you right now. The first is waiting rooms, meaning that anyone who is entering the meeting first goes into a waiting room. You may have seen this for your children when they've logged on. And then the host, who is the teacher, is able to allow students then to join the meeting. That means no one is permitted to join the meeting that the teachers don't know who that is. We are also adding a second feature that we are starting effective tomorrow morning, which is that we will be locking the meetings after 10 minutes. So what does that mean? That means after 10 minutes, the teachers will lock the meeting. No one else can enter, whether you're sitting in the waiting room or not. That is to make sure that that's to make sure that no one else can enter, and that keeps your children safe, secure, and prevents more of the Zoom bombing. Or any of the Zoom bombing. We have not had any as of now. So we don't record our live sessions for confidentiality and security reasons. So if you're after 10 minutes for a live stream, you're not going to be able to participate. So this is one of those, the door is locked at whatever 10 minutes after your start time. So make sure you get your kiddos there in time. This is to make sure we are upholding the highest degree of safety, security, and confidentiality for students. And we appreciate your adherence to that. So we're in week 4 of our emergency remote school and work. Our program at Bennett is running at close to 100% of content and delivery. In arriving at our phase 3 of emergency distance learning, I wanted to share with you how the process by which we've gotten there, and particularly the resources that we are dependent on and rely on for ensuring our program. Our distance learning program is in alignment with the Illinois State Board of Education recommendations for synchronous and asynchronous learning. Those recommendations were vetted by 65 advisors, education advisors across the state. We're also in alignment with the independent school management schedule, which we talked about last week. I am in a weekly meeting with 80 plus independent school heads from the independent schools of the Associated Central States. That includes many of our peer schools, our local peer schools. Jackie, Meg, and Marty as division heads also have a weekly division head meeting with our local peer schools, and that includes North Shore Country Day, Parker, Catherine Cook, Bernard Zell, among others. So we keep one another informed on what our schools are offering, how we're rolling things out, what's working, what's not working. And I can assure you that based on those meetings, we are implementing best practices at Bennett Day School and offering programming that really is setting the pace for us and for some of our peer schools. And so we're very lucky and really feel that we have a really good program in place and that we have these great peers to work with in building out our program. So now that our program is up and running, we can transition into longer term planning. Around the world right now, and this is from a UNICEF report, very recent UNICEF report, 95% of school-age students are not in school today around the world. We anticipate that number to be 100%. As of 1 o'clock this afternoon, 15 states have closed their school buildings through the end of the school year, a number that jumped from 12 just within the last 10 hours. Our neighbors, Michigan and Indiana, have already made the decision to close, and also Alabama, Vermont, California. And just this morning, Washington State has closed the school buildings through the end of the school year. This is an important state for us to watch, and it's a state that we have been watching since their first cases were announced back at the beginning of February. Illinois is, so we're watching them in terms of spread and suppression and, keeping that curve low. So Illinois is likely to make that decision very soon. And we are monitoring COVID-19 spread and the curves in various states and countries, including internationally, particularly those countries where the situation took a turn for the worse and those that have successfully implemented containment measures. Based on that and our partnership with our CDC advisor, we have transitioned from an April 30 return date to school in our school building to an extended school building closure through the last day of school, June 12th. This decision did not come lightly, and in the event that circumstances are such that we can safely reopen the building for classes without compromising the health and well-being of our students, families, and faculty, we will be ready for that day if it comes. At this time, however, we feel it would be irresponsible for us to treat this as a temporary situation. We are in week 4 of the first 6 weeks of new school. We are phasing out of emergency response setup phase. I'm proud of our team, our students, and our families for making this transition. We are all learning to work from home together, and this is new for all of us, everyone around the world. So with that decision in mind, you may be wondering, first thought, now how do I tell my child about this and when? So first off, you don't have to do that tonight. You don't have to do that at the end of this meeting. You don't have to do it tomorrow morning. Take the time you need to process this information and think about what your family and your children will need in processing and sharing this news. Our school counselors are offering 1-hour dialogues for parent guardians, the first of which is this Thursday at noon. In light of this announcement, Ms. Villafuerte and Ms. Newberry, our exceptional school counselors, will be focusing part of their discussion on how to talk to your children about this current situation, and then how to continue that conversation into a lengthened distance learning. I encourage you to take part in this conversation today. We are all in this together, around the world, in this city, and in our school. We need one another. And these weekly conversations they're going to be providing will be a time to share your joys, your concerns, your fears. If your child needs to talk to someone, or you feel your child needs to talk to someone, please also know that you can reach out to Ms. Villafuerte and Ms. Newberry directly to schedule time for them. So with the understanding and anticipation that we'll be conducting school from home for the remainder of the year, myself and the education team are shifting our attention to setting goals and objectives for each student for the remainder of the year. Following April break, 6-week check-in calls will serve as an intake conference for the remote learning school year. We're at a new starting point, right? And we're in our 4th week of that. In the fall, this is critical. We have to, this is critical. We all have to shift our mindset From the expectations that we set at the beginning of the year, in the fall, and even at our last conferences, we were in a different state of mind, and our academic and emotional goals were based on that circumstance. But let me be perfectly clear here. In setting goals for our children and ourselves for the remainder of the year, we are not lowering the bar in any way. But the notion that any child is falling behind simply does not apply to our current circumstances. We are not out of the crisis. We are in the heat and the heart of it. The most important thing that we can do for our children, more than any other thing, is to provide nurturing, compassion, structure, and routines. And from school, continued learning. This is the primary goal for every child at Bennett Day School and candidly around the world. That our children come through this unprecedented international health crisis with a continued sense of consistency in learning and growth, academically, socially, and emotionally intact. We know from research about children who experience crisis and trauma associated with community-wide disasters, such as Hurricane Katrina and its devastating aftermath, that continued learning provides real, tangible protection against the reasonable and expected response of anxiety and depression that children may experience during this time. As far as the programming delivery goes, you can and must determine what works for your family, as far as how much time you spend on academics, how much time you allow your child to spend on a screen. This is not a decision that the school can make for you. The 60 to 90 minutes of live learning that we ask you to participate in, that allows us to check in with your children on their academic and emotional state. But we understand that what you all can do at home is simply not the same. You are not alone in this. We are not alone in this. Around the world, around the city, in our own independent school bubble, we are all experiencing and responding to a cataclysmic change in how we do school and work and life. So we ensure that providing a school schedule that will operate at, so we ensure that by providing a school schedule that learning that protects and guards children, we provide a school schedule that will operate as is in place now for the duration of our distance learning school year. We will schedule those intake conferences after the break for you and your teachers. And here you can share insights with your teachers about how your child is adjusting to the remote learning school year, and to create goals appropriate to your child, your home, and the school program and expectations. It is key that you come to those meetings ready to talk to your teachers about how much you are able to support at home, so that they can understand what your and your child's availability will be for the duration of the school year. So be honest with yourself on those expectations and what you really can deliver in supporting your child at home. The program is set. So this is not a space where you need to bring suggestions for changing the program. It's really for you to share how it's working at home, your patterns and routines, so those academic and social emotional goals reflect what is realistic and reasonable at home. Beginning the following week, teachers will schedule a once-a-week meeting with your child. This will be a time where they can really focus on one or two of those goals. So first week back after April break, you're going to have your intake for the distance learning school year. And then the following week, one-on-ones with your child's teacher will begin. Callie and her incredible auxiliary team have been working for weeks to prepare camp programming for the break. You will not be disappointed. We are one of the few offering camp spring break programming or April break programming, including live camp sessions, as well as completely tech-free options. So if you don't want to do tech next week, you can take the week off, but still access the wonderful programming that they're putting together. The camp program is there if you need it. School will resume on Monday, April 20th. This is a change. We are canceling the professional development day that we typically have on the Monday after April recess, and we'll be back in session on that Monday. If you have plans that make it not possible for you to participate on that school day, that is absolutely okay. Following the break, this is another great thing we're excited to share with you. The auxiliary team will be offering after-school social groups for SK through second grade and third through fifth. So if you want to talk fantasy football or Pokemon, or if you want to talk magic rainbow fairy books, you've got a place to have those conversations. There will also be academics or homework clubs available, and those will be more during the school day. So if your kiddo wants to join a handful of other students and an auxiliary teacher whose expertise is mathematics, they'll be able to do that. Pre-K and JK will get their own special programming, and those will be 30-minute activity groups led by auxiliary teachers who are familiar with the early childhood students. So again, thank you to Callie and her team for their incredible efforts putting all of that together. She'll have more on that after the break. If your family is impacted by the COVID-19 virus, and you need some help, the Family Association has arranged for each class or grade level to have a representative ready to assist you. These are linked in the bulletin. Our community, as you know, can be mobilized quickly, and they can help get you the supports you need. Thank you to our FA chairs, social and room coordinators for making that possible. In light of the CDC recommendation, we're also launching a drive to make masks for members of the Bennett Day school community, in addition to the efforts that people have put into creating, to making masks for our medical and healthcare workers. If that's something you're interested in, please let us know. Please know also that we have started planning for the 2020 school year. We know that the situation may or may not be dramatically different than it is today as far as physical proximity limitations. We are already in the process of planning for that, and we really are looking at it in terms of 5 different tiers of the ability to return to the building. We are also looking at what are the building upgrades or changes that might be necessary to guard against the spread of COVID-19, maintaining that flattened curve. We have that, and as well as a plan that's fairly conservative as far as ongoing distance learning. We know we need to be ready for that. We know there may be sporadic closings. We need to be ready for that. So we are already beginning to build those plans, and we'll have more on that for you at the end of April. We'll be ready. Whatever comes, we'll be ready to continue to provide exceptional programming that reflects our school's mission, vision, and values. On a personal note, there are nights when I lay awake and I worry. I worry about my child and my parents. I worry about that cough that I had earlier in the day. I worry about you and your children. I worry about our teachers. I worry about Mike and Mo in the building every day, making sure it's safe and sanitized and ready for us to return the minute it's safe. I worry about the people working in the grocery stores and the doctors and nurses and EMTs and medical technicians who are out there risking their lives to save our lives. There are days when I am angry that this is happening to me and to us and to everyone. And then there are days when I'm scared and lonely and just plain sick of emptying the dishwasher. I share this with you because I am mindful that many of you may be feeling some or all or this and much more. I want you to know that we are all navigating these waters together. And while we are physically distant from one another, we must, now more than ever, come together around our shared common purpose, and that is our children. A couple of thank yous before the Academy starts playing the music to have me wrap up. I just wanted to say thank you to those of you working at home to support the delivery of our distance learning program, particularly to Ray, Emeka, Kelly, Sam, and Misty for their support on the tech side and delivery of that, to helping us become a nationally recognized voice in organizational tech training. Shout out to Kelly for that. To our enrollment team, their first week of distance open houses and info sessions, whoop to them. I also want to say thank you to our faculty who are on this call today, to our incredible classroom and specialist teachers who in a matter of weeks have learned how to do their jobs in an entirely different way and have done so with an exceptional degree of care, compassion, and frankly, heartbreaking dedication to you, to our parents and our students. And of course to Cameron, our leader and my friend. Thank you all. I'm all done.
Thanks, Kate. Thank you. I just have a few other things I wanted to say. I mean, I certainly echo Kate's comments. I often cannot do them justice in the same way, but I have a few things I will share as well. These are certainly unreal times that are testing us all in different ways. But I'm proud that our values as a community have really shined through, and two come to mind in particular, and those are adaptability and citizenship. One of the first things that many of you asked over and over when first March 13th came and went, Friday the 13th, you said, are we taking care of our people? Are we taking care of our community? Those are questions you asked us. And the answer is absolutely, an emphatic yes. Our auxiliary team, our partners at RUCA, citywide, building maintenance folks, we have made long lists that they are continuing to trudge their way through of things that, whether they be done in the summer or otherwise, that they are doing now. They are continuing to be very active members of our Bennett community. And a quick note that RUCA, our food partners, are now on DoorDash. So I promised I would mention that. You need to look them up under Cookies and Carnitas, though. That is their, call it retail storefront restaurant location. So again, Cookies and Carnitas on DoorDash if you'd like to support RUCA during this time. Let's see. Kate mentioned some of the other things that we're working on. You care about your partners, members of the community at Bennett. You've been making personal protective equipment for folks in the ER and dropping it off at school on Thursday nights, and now making them for each other. You asked, and we included the links in our bulletin to Teacher Appreciation Fund, to the Friends of Bennett Day. You all want to help each other, and that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I don't know that Kate is doing it justice, no matter how beautiful it sounded, but what the school faculty has done is just, I mean, it's just unparalleled. Like, whether you think about the multiplier of 2 to 3x on the time it takes to prepare digital learning, I am in awe of our faculty. I would say this, on these weekly calls that we have with other schools, nearly 100 of them, they're asking us what we are doing and asking us for help. And we are making decisions proactively, again, to lead the way, whether it's learning continues and it's distance learning. And we're in week 4 of that, which is 4 weeks ahead of a lot of other schools as well. We are looked to for advice and guidance by our peer schools, and I'm proud of that. That all said, I also am a parent as well, and so is Kate, as are many of our members of our leadership team and extended faculty at Bennett. And I know we all also clamor for more resources at home with our kids. To that end, and to Kate's point, we do have camp coming, virtual camp next week. I'm excited for that, for my family and my children. There will be some special appearances with some morning meeting guests. I will not spoil who they will be. Kate also mentioned a couple of the other resources, homework club, social club. We're putting the AUX team to work. A lot of the day parts for these things will also be during the time that we're doing distance learning. So if your kiddos or mine need help with something, you know, whether it's getting through math, literacy, Spanish, whatever it is, that'll be during the distance learning parts of the day, depending on what's age appropriate, of course. But there will also be additional live programming with the AUX team for pre-K, JK, some of our youngest learners as well, that would be something different than what you might call homework club. And then social club will be another offering. That'll be in the afternoons. So we all need to make decisions at home about what's appropriate to occupy and engage our kids. And Kate drew a distinction earlier today for me in another meeting. There's passive engagement and active engagement with what you do with your kids at home. And you have to figure out what works for you. But we want you to know that we have this in mind, and you'll be able to consume, whether it's camp programming, homework club, social club, things like that. This is where we're putting our resources into so that you can consume it as needed, as appropriate for your family, for your children. There was a question also in the chat that I saw come up about camp. don't worry, we will not let you miss a beat. June 12th will be the last academic day of distance learning, but June 15th, right away, we will start camp. So it will potentially be virtual. It will potentially be in person. We are planning for both. There will be some special arrangements, of course, for Bennett parents to take advantage of that. A great thing to do would be to participate or have your kids and your family participate in camp next week, so you get a sense if you don't know the Aux team yet or you didn't partake in Bennett Camp last year. This is a great way to do it while you're enjoying the great indoors next week to see if, okay, great, I'd love to do camp in the summer, virtually or in person, depending on what's available to us, but we will plan for both. And last but not least, in the sort of category of, but wait, there's more. Next week, we will also be starting something called Bennett Live. It will be first available through Facebook, our Facebook page, but we will also repost the content to YouTube and a number of other places. So if you're not on Facebook and that's not the best place for you, you don't need to consume it there, but there'll be another opportunity. You can keep an eye out for it. Keep an eye on our Facebook page next week, but just know that there might be some familiar faces from Bennett who maybe you haven't seen in a while, who might be making an appearance with Bennett Live. But there will be additional hours of programming, both live and recorded, every day for the next 9 weeks there as well. So you will not run out of things to do, and where we've invested our time and resources and effort to make things available to you and your families and your children. I'm excited for Bennett Live. If you can't tell. As Kate mentioned, also enrollment is still open virtually. Kudos to the team for figuring out how to do that in a virtual setting. We're excited for the things we're bringing live with Bennett Labs and Kelly and Misty and the team there. And with enrollment, please do send an email to admissions@Bennett Day. You can always just send an email and copy a friend and make an introduction there, and we'll take really good care of them. Depends on the grade and age, of course, for where we still might have space for the fall, but it's been a new world in enrollment and admissions, and we feel like we got it figured out. I'll wrap up here. We've got a couple minutes left, but I'm watching. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. The comments are very nice. Thank you. We are, as you can tell, I think from the things we are doing, we are financially sound, secure. We are investing into providing additional programming for you and your families. I think there was about a half dozen different things I asked there. To be sure, to Kate's point, we're going to have to make plans for the fall and beyond for what will be different. And we'll be prepared for that. We will have the resources for that. And I just want to say a big thank you. I want to say thank you. And I'm very grateful for the work our faculty does, for the work that our parents are now doing at home with their children, our extended community partners. We've mentioned many of them here during this live stream address. And I just feel very lucky to be part of this community. We've moved swiftly and quickly with great intention and thought into the programming that could be offered. And I'm proud and appreciative both as a parent, co-founder, and the CEO at Bennett. So thank you. Thank you. We're respectful of everybody's time. We want to make sure we answer any other questions. I tried to answer some along the way, and there's a little bit of a lag with what we say and then you see it. So we're gonna just hang on for a couple minutes and see if there's some more questions, but so you can start typing if you have some, but just know that we'll be coming back to you in the next couple weeks again with, okay, school's still in session, it's distance learning, it's different than it was, but we're thinking about the fall already, and we'll be coming back with what our plans are for that. And I should say, you can always send a note to CHRT, the Community Health Response Team, so that's CHRT @bennettday.org. Just if you don't want to type something in the chat, you want to just send a message. There's just a small group of us who can see those questions.
Is that background noise coming through?
I can hear that. That's why I laughed. You hang out for 60 seconds and let's see what's see what's going on. Thank you, Ben. Thank you as well. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Emily. I can remember whether it's been 6 months or 6 years that my kids have been in school with some of yours. We've seen a lot together. We've lived through a lot together. We started Bennett, in a little 5,000 square foot storefront. And here we are 10 times the size of that, 10 times the size in our community. Thank you. Yeah, John, we see your question. Kate mentioned a couple things we're doing there, both with when we lock people out after 10 minutes in meetings for Zoom. And there's some other, I'll say, changes we've made behind the scene to increase the security measures with Zoom as well.
We're following all the FBI recommendations, and the two most effective are the waiting room that requires permission to enter the meeting, and then locking the meetings. So that's why I'm going to just repeat it again, that those meetings will close after 10 minutes. So please make sure for those live stream meetings that you get there no later than 10 minutes after the start time. Thanks everybody for these kind words.
Yeah,
we are not worthy.
We are, Kate and I say, we're people too. So thank you, as are our teachers. I mean, you know what? Thank you for keeping that in mind. Like, the well wishes are great. Just your faculty are working really hard, really, really hard. So, and they're people too. So just imagine whatever you're saying it to a loved one. Like, just these are demanding times on everybody. Let's see. So that's a good question, Ashley. I mean, I could punt here, but I would say a great place, I can punt that over to Kate, but a great place to do that is the Bennett Community Network. It's our closed social media platform, or closed private network. Again, it's bennettcn.mn.co. If room coordinators and social coordinators have not just sent the link to everybody and said, hey, go find your classroom in the groups, and this is where we're going to post the event for our weekly Zoom chat, and whoever wants to get on, that's where you can see it. It's a nice closed place to, share pictures of your kids and things that are going on. And it's purely social. That is not where you gather, Bennett related information. Shameless plug here for, it is Bennett Poker Night tonight. If you have not RSVP'd, if you log on there and go to events, I think it's limited to 9 spots. Thank you to Sunir Maheshwari for organizing it. You have to download an app. I think there were a couple spots left, but that's at 8 o'clock tonight for hopefully after some children are asleep or otherwise occupied if they're older in upper school and not falling asleep until 12 or 1.
Or some of us adults who are asleep while the children are awake. Actually, the other thing I wanted to let you know, and this is for everyone, the room coordinators and the Family Association had a meeting today. And one of the things that we're looking at is and this actually came up at the last meeting. I think one of our parents suggested, what about grade level Zoom groups or classroom Zoom groups where people could share those types of ideas? And I believe that is underway as well. So that'll be another access point. I want you to know that your your just lovely feedback is just like straight to the heart. So thank you. It is sustaining to hear from you all, and much appreciated. And every day of the last 4 weeks, we just have so appreciated all of you. So thank you.
Thank you. There are over 100 people employed in the extended Bennett community, and just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody for being part of that, and then being part of our hundreds of families who care about them. Thank you. because we care about you.
You do.
Oh.
Talk to Ruka, Bobby.
You know what? You should order. Yeah, give it an order or call it in as a special order. That's great. There's also a group in the Bennett Community Network for, you should create some if you have others you're interested in, but there's a Jewish culture group, so I'll challenge anyone to post their favorite matzo ball soup recipe there. There you go.
Okay, make sure you share that with the Ruka team. They'll love that.
Yeah, we can repost it there too. Let's see any other.
I think we're good.
Okay. We'll do more of these, in a couple weeks. This seems to work pretty well with the live stream and the chat box, and then I think the Zoom chats that are grade level or classroom level, that's a more manageable level of faces and folks logged on with video at the same time. So that seems to be a good balance here. I think the bagel. Here we go. All right. Well, take it to the BCN, the Bennett Community Network. That's awesome. That's great. We've transitioned to matzo ball soup. All right. Well, thank you. Say thank you, everybody.
Well, everybody, stay safe and well.
All right. Hope a couple of you join us for poker, for adult Bennett poker night tonight.
Bye.